Hi friends, it's Lisa Hetrick, illustrator for Gina K Designs, and I'm so grateful you could join me today. I have a brand new stamp set to share. Let's dive in and take a look. Okay friends, so here is the stamp set. It's called Second Chances, and it is chock full of blooms. I'm going to call this like a wildflowers and weeds kind of stamp set. It's chock full of blooms and like weedy like elements, leafery, and some really interesting sentiments. Every day is a second chance. So here is where the inspiration came from this set. I saw something, it was probably over a year ago, where someone was taking, it was a gardener who was taking some weeds from their garden and putting them in different kinds of glass jars. And it made me think about test tubes and different kinds of glass jars. And she had used them as a display. And she did have like some test tubes where she used them as a display. And it got me thinking about like weeds in your garden and just kind of like these flowers or these things that show up in our yards or show up in our lives that are perceived to be weeds, but really she was giving them a second chance by popping them into another glass vessel with some water. And it just got me thinking about second chances and every day, how every day is a new day. And it inspired this stamp set. So here is the stamp set and the coordinating die set that is available in a bundle. And I really just kind of like the sentiments in the stamp set. Let's walk through all of the elements in the stamp set before I walk through all of the inspiration. So these blooms are kind of, I created the line art version and the solid version of the blooms so that you could do some two-step stamping. They're also perfect for any kind of coloring techniques that you want to do. And I'm going to share some inspiration behind that. And then I've got these weed pieces right here. Like this is kind of like a dandelion. This is just kind of some different flowers that kind of open differently too. So you're getting a little bit of a different perspective looking at the flower bloom. So it's got a bit of a 3D quality to it versus it just kind of being flat. So it feels a little more organic and has some movement. And then we have some of this leafery, these little weedy like elements here that can be used alone or can be used and topped off with the flower. And then here is the test tube. And then I had to put a little bit of water in there so that you could kind of create that test tube flower vessel look. Really love that. Then we have Every Day is a Second Chance, Hello Friend, Missing You, and Let's Talk Soon, which is kind of fun because Let's Talk Soon is something that I'm often texting friends. Like we are in this age of where we text each other to kind of like check in with each other. But it's very rare that we pick up the phone to kind of call each other. So that kind of reminded me like, let's talk soon. And it's something that I kind of put in some texts with people, friends and family. Okay, let's dive into the inspiration. I kind of pulled the camera in a little bit tighter so we could take a look at the cards. This is, I think this might be my favorite. I know I'm going to say that about a couple other cards that I'm going to share. But this card is really super simple. You can see that I've got some watercolor techniques going here. I've used that really large floral and I mashed it up with some florals from the Secret Garden. So the stamp set that came out in November, Secret Garden, has a lot of elements along with other stamp sets in my collection, have a lot of floral elements that fit perfectly with this set in proportion to each other so that you would be able to mix and mash them up together. And I really like those two little blooms from that Secret Garden set compared to this bloom that has a different kind of opening. And then I've got the leafery kind of coming off the edge and creating this really interesting organic looking card, and wishing you every happiness was from the Secret Garden as well. Okay, I knew I would say that that was my favorite card and that this was my favorite card. So, you know me, super watercolor girl. Here is the whole basis of the inspiration for that set. That whole concept of using the test tube as a little tiny vessel to put these little weeds in and have kind of this really, really pretty card with some of the weed leafery here. You could have put some little flowers in there, but I just used that really larger wonky-like flower. So this one right here, which is kind of fun. This wonky looking like flower, I used the solid with some watercolor to kind of create that look. And just kind of, these are all like some Gina K inks that I've used and created some watercolor effects with them. Love it. All right, love this. So this is really where the stamp set shines, to where you can use the line art images, use the outline images to create any kind of color combination inside the flower that you want. And in this case, I kind of did a little bit of a daisy-like look to it. Sort of a wonky daisy, or a dandelion, which is just super cute, with some little tiny leafery. Mashed it up with some of the coordinating stamps and did a little let's talk soon. Wouldn't that be kind of fun to send a card to someone that said, let's talk soon? Like old school, right? Like, let's do it. Okay. You know me, friends, I love to do a good pattern, and I have two really fun pattern cards. This was just a super fun cascading bloom of using the large bloom, using this really pretty bloom in the set, and kind of creating a little cascade waterfall of blooms and a little pattern, and doing a little bit of watercoloring. I used some of the edible eggplant with the pink carnation line and a little bit of yellow here, just to kind of create this really fun card. It says missing you. It's kind of a cute card. Okay. All right. A little bit more of a linear kind of look to this card with missing you too. Did a lot of two-step stamping here with the larger bloom and some of the leafery kind of coming out of that test tube vessel, just kind of making it look kind of like a vase, which is kind of really clean and simple card. Love it. Okay. Watercolor Fiesta is what I'm going to call this. Every day is a second chance. Again, did another really easygoing bloom pattern with this, and then just pulled out 3 of the elements and created like just a little bit more of a Fiesta-like color to it. Pattern card, little bit of washy watercolor, super fun. Okay, I love this card. Super easy going. Created that pattern with the two-step stamping. Did the two-step stamping, but used the 2 stamps to create the pattern, and did a light to dark pattern design with it. So using some of the lilac and then the plum punch in the Gina K line to kind of create that light and dark contrast between those 2 stamps. Super, super fun. Okay, as with all of my stamp sets in my collection with Gina K Designs, I have a brand new card idea sheet called Second Chances Card Ideas. And I started to look at these card ideas and realize that I didn't didn't use these as my design inspiration for the cards that I made, which was kind of interesting. I really love the way this one looks. I really love all of these card designs. I really love this concept of the 3 blooms. Just some really, really super fun ideas shared here. Okay, so friends, thank you so much for letting me come into your homes tonight to share my brand new stamp set called Second Chances. I'm really, really liking this set. It's sweet. It's sort of like an homage to giving some wildflowers and weeds a second chance instead of running them over with your mower, right? Giving them a second chance on your cards. and giving them a little bit new life and beauty. I hope you really enjoyed all of the card inspiration I shared with you today. Second Chances is available now at GinaKDesigns.com in the What's New section. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider sharing the joy by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. And you can watch more card and watercolor tutorials here. Thanks so much. Bye.